Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'll tell you what, folks. The second I came across this spoiler, I leaned back in my chair and just stared at the screen for a moment. After all these years of watching General Hospital, I've learned to trust my instincts, and this one gave me a feeling I couldn't ignore. Sometimes the biggest stories aren't about villains, shocking betrayals, or long-lost family secrets. Sometimes they're about ordinary people reaching the very edge of what their hearts can carry. That's exactly the feeling I get when I look at what's happening with Portia. You know, I've always believed that pregnancy on a soap opera is never just about welcoming a new baby. Around Port Charles, it usually comes wrapped in fear, impossible choices, and emotions so intense they can turn an ordinary afternoon into a life-changing disaster. That's why this latest spoiler immediately caught my attention. Portia isn't simply waiting for her child to arrive anymore. It feels like she's standing on the edge of a cliff, and one unexpected push could change everything. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how much this woman has been carrying without ever really showing just how exhausted she must be. Sure, she's smiling when she has to. She keeps trying to hold her family together. She wants to believe tomorrow will be better than yesterday. But folks, life doesn't work that way. A person can only carry so much pressure before the cracks begin to show. I've seen it happen in real life, and that's one reason this story feels surprisingly believable. When you're in the final months of pregnancy, every little thing feels bigger than it normally would. Your body is tired. Your emotions are running on overdrive. Even a simple disagreement can suddenly feel overwhelming. Now imagine living in Port Charles, where almost every day brings another crisis, another secret, or another painful reminder of the past. Good Lord, that's enough to make anybody feel like they're about to burst. What really has me thinking is the timing of all this. Just when Curtis and Portia finally seem determined to move forward together, life appears ready to throw another obstacle directly into their path. Haven't we all seen this pattern before? Just when a couple starts rebuilding trust, something unexpected comes along to test whether that foundation is actually strong enough. That's why I don't believe this upcoming confrontation is going to be just another argument. I think it's going to expose every fear, every frustration, and every unanswered question that's been quietly building beneath the surface. I honestly wanted to believe Curtis and Portia had learned from everything they've survived. They both know what's at stake now. They're preparing to welcome a baby into the world, and that should be a time filled with hope. But hope doesn't erase stress. It doesn't erase old wounds overnight. If anything, preparing for a new child often forces people to confront every unresolved issue they've been trying to avoid. Then there's Trina, and I can't help but feel that her decision to keep some distance from her parents is adding another heavy weight onto Portia's shoulders. As a parent, nothing hurts quite like wondering whether your own child is pulling away from you. It doesn't matter how strong you try to be, those thoughts stay with you. They follow you into every quiet moment, and eventually they start affecting everything else in your life. That's why I think Portia has been holding in far more emotion than anyone around her realizes. She isn't just worried about giving birth. She's worried about her marriage. She's worried about Trina. She's worried about whether this growing family can actually stay together after everything they've been through. Those are the kinds of fears that don't disappear just because someone tells you to stay calm. Now, here's where things start getting really interesting in my eyes. The spoiler suggests that another heated confrontation is coming, but they don't tell us exactly who will be standing across from Portia. At first, I immediately thought Curtis might be the obvious choice. They've worked hard to get back on the same page, but sometimes the people we love the most are also the ones who know exactly which buttons to push without even meaning to. Then again, I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan becomes part of this emotional explosion instead. History has a funny way of resurfacing when people least expect it. One uncomfortable conversation can suddenly reopen wounds everyone thought had finally healed. Around Port Charles, old emotions never stay buried for very long. But honestly, I don't think the other person's identity is even the biggest issue anymore. The real danger isn't who Portia argues with. The real danger is what that confrontation does to her emotionally. And I keep coming back to that thought because stress during late pregnancy is no small matter. Her body has already been working overtime for months, and one powerful emotional shock could be enough to send her into labor before anyone is ready. I can almost see the entire sequence playing out in my mind. Voices get louder, tempers flare, someone says something that can't be taken back. Portia tries to stay composed because she's always tried to be the responsible one. Then suddenly she stops. The pain hits. Her breathing changes. Everyone realizes at the exact same moment that this isn't just another family argument anymore. And that's when panic takes over. Folks, I've watched enough General Hospital to know that the show loves moments where everything changes within seconds. 1 minute, people are focused on winning an argument, and the next, they're desperately trying to save someone's life. That's the kind of storytelling that keeps longtime viewers glued to their seats because it reminds us how fragile everything really is. If Portia does go into labor during this confrontation, I don't think Curtis will waste a single second thinking about who started the fight. Every disagreement, every misunderstanding, every ounce of anger will instantly disappear. His entire world will narrow down to one goal, getting Portia and their baby through this safely. That's the kind of moment that reveals who people truly are when everything is on the line. Another detail that keeps running through my mind is the possibility that they may not even reach General Hospital before the baby decides it's time to arrive. Now that's a frightening thought. We all know how unpredictable emergencies can be, and if Portia is forced to give birth somewhere outside the hospital, the danger level rises immediately. Suddenly, every passing minute matters. Every decision matters. Every person nearby could end up playing a role in whether mother and baby make it through safely. And if that's really where this story is headed, I have a feeling we're about to witness one of the most emotional weeks of the summer. Not because of explosions or shocking villains, but because nothing is more powerful than watching a family face the terrifying possibility of losing everything just moments before welcoming a brand new life into the world. Those are the stories that stay with me long after the episode ends, and something tells me this one is going to leave all of us holding our breath until the very last scene. One possibility I just can't ignore is that Portia may never make it to General Hospital before the baby arrives. If that happens, folks, we're looking at one of the most intense delivery scenes we've seen in a long time. Soap operas have always loved unexpected births, and General Hospital is no exception. Just when everyone thinks they have a plan, everything falls apart in a matter of seconds. I can already picture Curtis doing everything he can to keep Portia calm while quietly fighting his own fear. No husband wants to watch the woman he loves go through something this frightening without the doctors and nurses she needs. On the other hand, there's still a chance they'll reach GH in time, and I'm hoping that's exactly how it plays out. Either way, I don't expect this delivery to be easy. What makes this story so emotional isn't just where the baby is born. It's the fear that something could go terribly wrong. The writers have always known how to turn a joyful moment into a nerve-wracking experience, and that's why I think Portia and Curtis are about to face one of the biggest tests of their lives. Even with all the danger, I'm still holding on to hope. I truly believe Portia and the baby will come through safely. In fact, this little one could become the reason the Ashford family finally starts healing. Maybe Trina finds her way back to her parents, and maybe Marshall's expected return makes this family reunion even more meaningful. That's why I'm so interested to see what happens next. This isn't just another baby storyline. I think it's the beginning of a new chapter for Curtis, Portia, and everyone around them. If General Hospital delivers the emotion I'm expecting, this could easily become one of the most memorable stories of the summer.